Hello, freedom fighters. Welcome back to the Angry Albertan podcast. This is the second installment of our series entitled Lockdown Activism 101, a guide for new activists in the era of COVID-19. In the last episode, we discussed the importance of being educated. Being knowledgeable is the first step to forming a rational argument, and forming an argument is the first step into activism. We discussed getting your feet wet on social media. Practice your activism on your friends and family. If you can't communicate with them, you have little to no chance with strangers. Be prepared to engage on social media. Don't shy away from the debate. If you believe in liberty, you should be willing to fight for it. Here are some simple things you can start doing today to join the fight for liberty. This is the first one I came up with here. Defy social distancing. When you conduct business, offer your hand. A handshake has sealed a deal for millennia. Dr. Fauci thinks that this is the first thing that should be abolished in this new normal. I disagree. I will not fear my neighbors, my customers, or my friends. This virus poses almost no risk to me. And the vast majority of those in high-risk categories will survive an infection. We certainly didn't ban shaking hands when the original SARS virus was circulating. We were just told to wash them. So put that hand out and see what happens. Chances are good that the other person will start to offer their hand and then retract it sheepishly. This is when you educate them. Simply say, "I'm not afraid. I can always wash my hands." Then perhaps comment on the ridiculousness of this whole situation. This starts the conversation. The same holds true for hugging. Go give that person a hug. Now, it may not be wise to enact these suggestions at a nursing home, but for normal, healthy people, there is no reason not to hug. When speaking with friends or colleagues, maintain your normal distance. I don't want to talk to you from 6 feet away. The BBC has reported that science has studied the fact that normal distances of about 1 meter are generally perfectly safe. It was the government bureaucrats that doubled it to 2 meters just to be extra safe. Don't bother with masks. There is no evidence that asymptomatic people, that is, people without symptoms, can spread the virus. If you are sick, wearing a mask may not be a bad idea, but only if you are sick, or perhaps if you are working with vulnerable people. Do not wash your hands at Safeway. Those portable hand washing stations are filthy, probably about as effective as washing your hands at the gas station. Simply tell the attendant you used your own hand sanitizer in the car. If they give you trouble, shop somewhere else. And speaking of shopping elsewhere, don't shop at places that make you wait in line. Make it clear to these businesses that this type of behavior will cost them customers. These businesses have not been ordered to create these lineups. They are doing it of their own choosing. The onus of social distancing does not fall on businesses. It falls on individuals. So if customers are not social distancing, the business is not responsible. Also, please note that the government guidelines for the operation of businesses during this time are exactly that, guidelines. Guidelines are not laws. Sure, an overzealous bylaw officer may issue you a ticket, but will it stick in court whenever the courts happen to reopen? I highly doubt it. Let your kids play. Kids have a negligible risk, almost zero. In fact, the risk was so low for young people, the government had to make up a whole new syndrome related to COVID, just for kids. This syndrome is being called multi-system inflammatory syndrome in children, or MIS-C. In her live stream today, Dr. Hinshaw tried to ramp up the fear yet again, warning Albertans that we have had our first possible case of this novel syndrome in the province. I can only find one death globally in the news from this new syndrome. Dr. Hinshaw stated that this syndrome shows up about a month after being exposed to COVID-19. So why haven't we heard about children in Wuhan dying from this? Their outbreak was in full swing in December. Why didn't this make the news in January, February, March, April, or May? Do they really expect us to buy into this? Is this going to be the new trend? After the fear starts to die off, the government just puts out a new health scare crisis to stir people back into a panic? Really? Are we actually going to fall for this again? So take your kids to the park. Let them play with each other. It's not going to kill them. Organize those soccer drills and batting practice. If someone reports you, and if you get a ticket, don't panic. Film the whole thing. Even better if you can live stream it. The tickets will be defended by the JCCF, the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms. These guys and gals are a nonprofit society that defends Canadians whose rights have been violated. Please support them. They depend on your donations to fight these cases. I'm willing to bet these tickets are tossed long before they ever see the courtroom. Just think about it. Our Charter of Rights and Freedoms allows the government to suspend rights for whatever reasons they choose to. It is up to you, the citizen, to hold them accountable and to take it to court. If the court decides that the government was unreasonable in suspending your rights and freedoms, that sets a precedent. That precedent will then make it much harder to encroach on your rights and freedoms in the future. So rather than risk losing, it is my prediction that all of these tickets will be tossed long before the trial date, and therefore leaving the door open to future government encroachment on our liberties. I've known for a long time that our Charter of Rights and Freedoms is not worth the paper it is printed on, and this is a debate that will be coming forward in the coming months and weeks. Canadians deserve inalienable God-given rights. Our community of activists have been attacking this government from all sides. There are Facebook groups like Albertans Against Bill 10 that have specifically organized letter writing campaigns. Join them. Phone Jason Kenney's office at 780-427-2251. Again, that number is 780-427-2251. You can send Jason Kenney an email at premier@gov.ab.ca. Again, it's premier@gov.ab.ca. Go leave a comment on his Facebook page. Do this for all the government officials involved. Call Shandro. Call Hinshaw's office. Call your mayor and town councilor. Call your pastor and tell him to open up the church. Since our activism has liberated the legislature grounds, tell your pastor to hold an outdoor service there. No tickets have been issued at the legislature in weeks. It would be the safest place to hold a church service with no attendance restrictions. What I would love to see is a huge group of religious leaders holding a huge service on the grounds of the legislature of all faiths and creeds. It is time we stand up together. The fear has divided us. Now we see through the fear. Stand together. And just a quick note on the Edmonton legislature grounds. We've been protesting there for weeks. We've been singing songs, we've been chanting, we've been hooting, we've been hollering, we've been doing everything that Dr. Dina Hinshaw has banned, and there have not been any arrests or tickets in weeks. Jason Kenney does not want the bad publicity. So the legislature seems to be probably the safest, most freest place in the province at the moment. There are many groups organizing protests now. Albertans Against Excessive Lockdown has been at the leading edge for weeks. Join their page. Go to the Saturday protests at the legislature every Saturday at 1 p.m. So many great groups are coming together to support these protests. Unify the West and unifythepeople.ca are groups that have a plan for the future. They've worked out a real constitution for the Canadian people that would protect and instill into law our God-given inalienable rights. They are standing with us. End the Lockdown Alberta on Facebook is another group with over 7,000 members. You can find a ton of community information there as well. AB Action has been circulating a petition against Bill 10. Go sign it right now. If you want to protest in your area, please get in touch with any of the groups I have listed here, especially Unify the West. Jay and Jake have all the tools at their disposal to promote your event and get people to attend. They cannot plan the event, but they can definitely assist you. Take a leadership role. This is our main problem right now. Everybody is waiting for someone else to do something. We need you to do something. Take the initiative. Be on the right side of history. One day, we are going to have an amazing story to tell our grandchildren. Don't get caught on the sidelines. We need you in this fight, and we need you now. I and every resident of this province are depending on you. Thanks for listening. Have a wonderful evening, and I will see you all again soon.